So for this project, this is an Algebra 2 assignment, and it's about systems of linear inequalities. And so what I had them do is I gave them an option of a couple of different ways of doing this project. So one thing they could do is I just kind of gave them the situation where they are some type of manager of a business or whatever it is, and so they have these different constraints on, they have to have so many products in their store, but they also have a constraint on how much space they have in their store to have it and how much money they need to make. And so I kind of gave students this kind of basic baseline set of constraints for the project. But then I also allowed students to kind of branch out and make things a bit more complicated, so they could increase the number of variables, or they could increase the number of constraints or equations in the system. They could branch off away from the kind of model of being in a business. So, for example, over here, for this one, they're not in a business anymore. Now they're measuring the number of girls and boys they're going to have on a wrestling team, and some of the weights are the constraints for that. Over here they had, this was the kind of business model where they had the amount of space in the store and how much money they had to make. And here they only had 2 variables and 2 inequalities. And for this one, they kind of upped their game a little with 3 different inequalities instead of just 2. And so they had to create a story and explain what all the variables meant. And so I think this was helpful in that students really had to kind of, from scratch, create their whole situation. So they had to figure out what their variables were going to be, how they had to make up their own inequalities, made sure all kind of the numbers worked so that when they tried to put it on paper and put it in the poster, it actually worked. And so actually here's an example of one where they tried to do something first and they realized that their graph wasn't it, so they started over again. So that's kind of the point, right? They have to physically create something and put it all out there. So yeah.